Sarah Hessen, and I was the host today for today's wonderful webinar from PSIS 210. Now I would like to introduce you to Nofelia Garcia.
Hello, everybody. Well, we just had a really exciting webinar with ISPS 210, and there were many things that were shared, and I thought it would be interesting just to recap what was said during the webinar. So maybe we'll start with Evelyn. Evelyn is the principal, and so if you had one thing that you wanted to share with everybody, what would you say?
If I had one thing to say, I would say to maintain that belief in whatever your dream was. I mean, my dream was always to be the principal, even a teacher in a school where languages like Spanish and English are valued. And as a result of that, you know, children appreciate it. And so I think if there's anything that we could come away from in today's webinar is to continue to look for, you know, best practices and best models for programs, and to keep looking at them because they have to fit not just the model of what would be working, but it has to fit the model of what you need in your particular school. And, you know, in my case, I listen to my teachers a lot, and that's always good advice.
Great. So that's a very important comment, right? The fact that it's not a model that is from the external part in. It's not something that you just bring in, but actually something that you grow from the children and the teachers in the school. So there are two coaches here today, and maybe the two of you can share what it is that you think makes PSIS 210 work for children, for bilingual children.
I think that one of the key factors that has helped us is collaboration is key, and keep maintaining consistency. The fact that we don't have much resources in Spanish, I think that collaborating with each other and finding partners to support us in finding resources and translating material, and just going out to look for best practices and looking at those models and bringing it back to the classroom. So I think collaboration and consistency is definitely a key.
Great. And how about you, Elizabeth?
Yeah, and then building on what Christina had said, really thinking about how bilingualism can support our students' learning and how we want to encourage them to develop that and highlight the value of both languages in the curriculum that they see, in the interactions that they have with their students. So really placing value in both languages, and we do that through working together.
Right.
Great. So it's a collaboration of languages, of people, of students, of teachers. And we have the ESL teacher here of the middle school, because this is a school that ranges from pre-K through the 8th grade. So you are, Isabel, you're representing the middle school. So what would you say? What are the challenges? What are the differences?
Challenges, a lot of them. I just want to say that I think that to teach any subject, you have to love it. You really have to like it. And you have to like your audience, your students. Not necessarily like them, but love them. Sometimes they can be annoying. And also, in your heart, you have to like. I mean, to me, being bilingual is second nature. I came here when I was 10 years old, and learning English was, you know, part of the course, but losing the Spanish was never, ever part of the deal either. Mm-hmm. So I want my students to be able to do what I do, to be able to see the world in two different ways, to think differently. So I hope I convey that to them.
Good. And this is important coming from an ESL teacher, right? So that this vision of bilingualism. Is there anything else that you think you want to add for those out there that are listening? Any lessons that you want to make sure you have a lesson? Isabel always has a lesson.
I have to share this lesson. Because when I first started with the Board of Ed, I remember that it was a sin to use another language. It had to be English. And I always used to think, oh yeah, you know, give me Chinese and tell me to look for clues, see how you're going to figure it out. And so I did a lesson once on, I compared Abraham Lincoln with Salome Ureña. And Salome Ureña was completely in Spanish and Abraham Lincoln was completely in English. And it worked. It worked. We analyzed her poetry and we analyzed his quotes. And I gave him all the background history on both. And it was wonderful. In the end, they produced a nice compare and contrast essay.
Good.
So
And what's really,
it works.
thank you. And what's really interesting is that during this whole webinar, we have not used the word translanguaging except Elizabeth used it. But all of you are espousing a philosophy of translanguaging and the ability of children to make sense of their education, even though you're working with spaces that are different. And I think that's really important. But with flexibility, again, because you're adapting your instruction to the children. So thank you very much.
Thank you for having me.